is consideration of RS 28945 related to public education and non-discrimination. I will leave it. It looks like we've chosen who will introduce this, and that would be Representative Horman. Welcome to the committee, if you don't mind introducing yourself.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My name is Wendy Horman. I'm a representative from District 30 in Bonneville County, Idaho Falls. Members of the committee, this bill establishes education and fiscal policy for the state regarding dignity and non-discrimination in public education. It includes also fiscal policy prohibiting the use of monies for prohibited purposes as described in the bill. I don't know that I've ever worked on a bill that has had so many individual legislators contribute to it. I personally know of at least 8 different drafts of this bill and literally dozens of legislators who have engaged in this issue over the last couple of weeks, actually a couple of months, going back further in session. So as you can see, it has some similarities but some significant differences to the one that you had presented already. All references to sectarianism are removed. There is Section 1 is a stated goal. That is a goal that this legislature shares in common with the State Board of Education because that language comes from their policy on academic freedom. Next, you'll see concerns expressed and then solutions down through the rest of the bill, including prohibition on the expenditure of monies for certain purposes. We were able to identify in Section 33, Title 33, other examples of fiscal policy such as direction and law on how plant facility levy funds will be spent. And so we believe there is precedent for putting this in Title III. And with that, would ask for your support of this RS.
Thank you, Representative Horman. Committee, are there any questions for the representative or any motions? Representative Rubel.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for a question of the sponsor.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Representative Horman. I guess I'm, a concern that I've heard is that this prohibition on, directing or compelling students to affirm, adopt, or adhere to any tenets could be a problem in a debate context where it's routine procedure to assign a student is like, okay, you take this position, you take that position, now you switch. And I'm wondering what problems our debate teachers might have, or really in any class, when they, try to encourage that classroom discussion by assigning students to take one side or another, and historically, what you take one side of the Civil War debate, you take the other, can they run afoul of this provision in that context?
Representative Horman.
Mr. Chairman, Representative Rubel, that portion is not from a draft that I was involved in preparing, so I will defer to Representative Young to respond to that question.
Representative Young, welcome to the committee.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. You'll notice the word personally, adopt, or adhere to. So this is not just a role play. This is not just a debate where we're obviously taking turns, taking different sides. This is a requirement that the student personally adopt or adhere to.
Thank you, Representative Young. Any further questions, motions? Representative Monks.
Thank you, Chairman, and Representative Young. I'm sure you've got a good answer for this. I just was trying to follow through. Page 1, when we talk about in these sub I2, 1, 2, 3, it always talks about sex, race, ethnicity, religion, color, national origin, kind of has the list of things there. Page 2 at the top, it says no distinction or classification of students shall be made on account of race or color. Doesn't list all those other things. Are those supposed to be there, or was there a reason that we didn't list all of them on that particular line item? And I apologize for asking that, but I figured you might have an answer.
Representative Young.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Representative Monks, that language was lifted directly from our state constitution, and we didn't want to mess with it at all. So that's the reason it looks like it does.
Thank you. Committee, any further questions or motions? Representative Monks.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move that we introduce RS 28945.
Thank you, committee. There's a motion to introduce RS 28945. Is there any discussion on the motion? Representative Rubel.
Thank you. Just a point of order. I just wanted to clarify that this will be going to committee, correct? There is no effort to try to send this directly to the floor?
Representative Horman.
Chairman Amador, Representative Rubel, that is correct. Chairman Cloud will be hearing this tomorrow morning in House Education, and he has a really good analogy to describe it, how we got at this bill. I'll defer to him for that analogy.
Okay, thank you. And if I might just speak on the
Motion, or sorry?
No, not a substitute motion, just to speak to the motion that's on the table.
Go ahead.
You know, I mean, I feel that there's just an imaginary problem to some extent being addressed here. I really don't think we have a problem in our education system such that we need to be putting conditions on funding, et cetera. But given that this will have a full hearing in committee, I will reluctantly vote to introduce. But again, I don't understand the basis for why we're going down this path at all. But
Thank you. Seeing no further comments, committee, the motion is to introduce RS 28945. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed say nay. Motion passes. Voice vote. Would you like to be recorded? So Representative Toon and Representative Necacheo vote no.